What's going on, everybody? It's Joe Giunta with Trend Trading Academy. I'm here to help you trade and get paid. In today's video, we're getting ready to drop it. We've been talking about it on the community. It's going to be powerful. Listen, even the TTA family was on the community on YouTube letting you guys know the game we gave. It was absolutely powerful. All right, so we're going to talk about fib strategy. And I'm not just talking about a simple fib retracement. I'm telling you some things today on this video that's going to take your trading to the next level. You're going to make money. You're going to make sustainable profits if you really just take what I'm telling you today and apply it to your trading. If this video brings you value, what I want you to do is like, comment, subscribe. Go ahead and hit that little notification bell so you get notified every time we drop content, all right? And don't forget to become a student on TTA, trendtrading.academy. Become a student, learn with us. We eat together, we win together, we dominate together, all right? And guys, I want you to stay tuned because in the next 2 weeks, we got some big announcements coming. I'm about to put a tool in your hand that's gonna absolutely blow your trading away. You are gonna do things with your trading like you've never been able to do before with what I'm about to give you in the next couple weeks, all right? So it is gonna be crazy. Make sure you stay around. Make sure you kind of listen and stay tuned to what we're doing because when we drop this, it changes everything. For now, I'll see you on the charts.
Have faith in your mind, have faith in your grind, invest in yourself, transform in your time. Have faith in your mind, have faith in your grind, invest in yourself, transform in new time. When you trade and get paid, 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 trade and get paid.
We simplify advanced things and we work them. So let's get to the chart. You need to take the whole account into your perspective before you make decisions. So first things first, we look at the higher time frame. We were trading on the 30-minute chart and the 15-minute for retest. So we started at the 4-hour chart. I'm on GBP AUD 4-hour. All right. So the first thing we do is we look at price action. Is there anything on price action that's telling me something right now? Well, guess what? This is where we were, right? We were back here. So when I seen this, I'm like, okay, cool. We got some nice movement. So what do? We could very easily, right? Very, very easily drop that on there. Let me make that nice and clear. Right? And then we look at the bottom and guess what? You see what happened? We have a big move up. It retests and sets a zone. This zone right here. It tests and it breaks and resets the new zone confirmed by where it pulled back over here. So it dropped down, had a little baby pullback, dropped down, came up, retest and set a new zone for structure. So that new zone is set. We go up, we start setting lower lows, but we keep setting even bottoms, flat bottoms. What does that generally tell us? So now we go back to where that zone finished, right over here, and we simply drop a line on it, right? That's it. So now we have a zone that's set by here. We have a zone that's set up top, and now we can simply just wait and see what price does, right? So most of the time, now again, let me tell you another thing. Never is there a guarantee in Forex. There is never a such thing as a guarantee buy or sell or bullish movement or bearish movement. The only thing we have is high probability. So I see this and I say to myself, if I have a descending pattern here coming from a bullish move, all right, let's be clear. Coming from a bullish move, I have a descending pattern. What that generally tells me most of the time is that I'm looking to move up. I would generally move up and go to level to fulfillment. Level to fulfillment, okay? However, that is not a guarantee That simply tells me high probability. There's other factors in the market. The fact that GBP is falling. Yes, this type of pattern generally produces a bullish move. But we also have to understand that on the highest time frames, we see GBP trying to fall, right? So, well, we got to take a look and we'll see what happens. So all we do is watch this. We can, number one, we have structure. Number two, we can take this, go back to levels of structure. Boom, 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 all through here, right? All that nice level of structure. And we can take this and drop us a little zone. How do we do that? Well, let's look at this a little bit. Look back here. Before the big drop, we touch. Those two touches are quite important. Why? Because we see the zone it sets, we see the zone it breaks. So we set a line on it. Then we want to see, does it respect it on the way back up? It comes up, and look what happens, right? Big candle stops right on it. We see some sideways movement within it. We see wicks forming all around it. We see it break and retest it. That. So we know that this zone is solid. We know that this zone is true, okay? Now as we get more recent, we see this zone is true. We see this zone is true. Right? Over and over again, right? So now what we do is we want to see how price reacts to these levels. So guess what we do? We bring this down. Now, actually, before we even do that, what we can do is take our fan. Now, this is where we're going to get into some fibs. If we go to the highest point and then we bring it down to the the first low. So if we come here and we drag it base to right here, okay? You see that? High. This is called your baseline, your zero. That's your baseline. You go from the highest point to the low. High, low, right? Not all the way down here. I'm talking about high, low. Then you have all of these are both, there's two things that go on here. Your horizontal lines are your fib. Your diagonal lines are your fan. And the fan, what that does for you is it tells you speed. Okay? So when you begin to break that out, let's kind of widen it up and see it real clearly. Here's what's happening. We see it comes down, right? It gets down here. And every time you see it break a new line, it generally will complete to the next line. So now notice how it's real small up here, right? That's telling you that previous time, because remember, we did this, and then it gave us this line. That tells us that from here to here, the wider that zone gets, the more time it takes to fulfill that zone. That's why this is called a fib speed resistance fan, because it's giving you the fib and it's giving you, is this going to be a real quick thing or is this going to be something that takes a while, right? So watch this. It comes in here, it retests, it goes up, boom, it fulfills. Retest, breaks right through, boom, fulfills very fast. It really goes all the way up. Retest, boom, right, all the way. And the wider out this fan gets, the longer it generally takes to get from one line to the other, okay? So now you combine your fib levels with your speed levels, and now you not only have an area where you feel like you're going to get movement, but you also know generally, again, high probability, not guarantee, is this going to take a while, right? So notice when you get down here, you start getting these breaks. Look at this. It breaks, and then it starts to drop. It starts to kind of ride that trend line, which I'm going to get into that in a minute. But eventually, it makes its way up. What you do at some point is you need to wait and see, does it break back down, right? So we get this move and it breaks out past your 786. Then it comes back down. So at that point, now in this case, it does pull back up. But for the most part, what we want to see is once we see that thing start breaking back down inside of your fan, then we're looking at a change in direction. Why? Because look left, right? If you look left and you look at how this works out, look at this. You drop your fib up here, and now you just come to your most recent low, right? You can do that, and look what happens here. It breaks, gets to your golden zone, and rejects right at the very top of this trend line that was up here. And as soon as it comes back down below your 50, look what happens. Boom, nice drop. And you could take it right from the golden zone right back down to your red line. You say to the red line, but then what happens when it breaks the red line? Well, now I'm going to stop looking for buys. Or, I'm going to stop looking to trade the buy off this counter trend, right? I know this is a downtrend, but what you're doing is you're catching it, boom, from one line to the other. And so what you're doing is catching counter trends off of every golden zone to the previous zone. Now, guess what happens? When it breaks back down, right? Now I'm not going to keep looking for these up positions. I'm going to start looking for down positions, but I need it to break structure levels. I need it to be set by structure levels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this, and watch this. So look what happens when you get this rejection, you get this breakout. It breaks down below not only your red line, but it starts to talk about this structure. All right. What happens? We get a beautiful retest at the bottom of the same structure we've been at. And now what are we doing? We're looking for movement. So what do? Fib extension. From here. Oh, my bad. That's fib retracement. Fib extension, my bad. You take the fib extension from here to here. Now, here's what people tell you to do. ABC, right? ABC. So for the swing, what that's telling us is that we can expect to get to this level as a take profit, first line. You possibly have a potential to get to a second line and a lesser potential to get to the third line. The further out you go, the more chance for a turnaround. However, here's what I like to do. We're gonna tighten that boy up. Instead of going from A to B to C, we're gonna go A to B to A. And what does that do? Because you're gonna catch it from that pullback, that rejection, and you're gonna take it. Why is that important? High, low, lower, high. If this is going to continue, what has to happen? It has to make a lower low. High, low, lower high, lower low. This would be even right here. So I know that I have a very high probability of getting back to the even structure level. If it continues in a downtrend, then I have a very high probability of getting to here and possibly to here. So rather than going A, B, rather than going A, B, C, and yeah, you hit your take profit, why not go A, B, A? Come back and get that, not guaranteed, but really, really high probability setup here. Potentially to here and potentially to here. When you start to look at the structure of that, now let's watch this. Let's get rid of this fan. When you start looking at the structure of this, we didn't just drop this on and say sell. What we said was we were here. We were in the middle. And what we said was this: we don't know which way it's going to go. When we're sitting in the middle of a pattern, I'm not going to tell you it's a sell or a buy, because while there might be probability that this says buy, there's also a lot of other things involved, and the market does not always do exactly what we want it to do. So what we do is we're going to set a nice little zone for the breakout, and we catch this. Here's what we know. We know we can probably get down to here. So what is that? If we get the nice little breakout, boom, we get in here, nice little breakout, we can come here and we can get some nice pips, right? This is the 4-hour chart, by the way. We know that once we break that, once we can get a true rejection of that, we know, that we can get back down to the previous low, right? So if we get a rejection, high, low, lower high. We know we can almost guarantee we're going to get back down to at least a flat bottom. And whether that be a double bottom, make a W and continue up. Now, what would that look like? If it did that, if it went down, up, down, and just makes a flat bottom, we get our level of take profit by coming and getting this. But then we're still okay, because even if it turns around and goes back up and makes that little supply, gathers that supply before going up, right? Then guess what happens? Well, gathers that demand, before going up. Then guess what happens? We still understand that even though there was somewhat of a fake out on a pattern, we caught movement from it because we limited risk. Okay. And in the case of it, that it does continue down and the pattern breaks in the wrong direction. I say wrong, there's no wrong, but it's the less probable direction. We were protected because all we did was we came down and we said A, B, A. We took it to here, and then we one level at a time. I'm not setting my take profit down here. I don't even use take profits. I use a trailing stop loss. But I know I can get to here. I'm pretty sure I can get to here. And I'm not quite as sure I can get to here. But by this time, I've already got so much profit in the bag that even if I get stopped out, I'm so far in profit that who cares? That generally happens to every trade I take, right? If I'm in here and I set my stop loss at previous structure level, right? So guess what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to trail that stop loss into profit. I'm going to trail it all the way down. And almost every trade I take stops out. But if it stops out in 90% profit, right? Who won, me or the market? So that is how we do that. First things first, that's when we want to look at the longer term. Now, how do we bring that down to the lower time frame? If we've seen all that on the 4-hour chart, right? We've seen all of this stuff that we just looked at on the 4-hour chart. Now we just look at that breakdown, right? And guess what we can do? We can look at the most recent move that happens. So what do I like to do? You guys know I don't really even use the speed fan. I make my own fan. So what do? I take this. I take my trend line. Here's the source. We're going to call this step 1, A, right? We're going to call this the base. I take this and I go to my first my first pullback. Oh, sorry. I go to my first pullback, right? So watch this. Here's base. Come from here, 1, 2, right? Go on through. So I know once I get that rejection, guess what I can do? I can take that sell all the way until that thing breaks. Now, obviously, what we're going to do is we're going to set levels, right? So how do we do that? Well, watch this. A, B, and it's not C, A, right? So boom, we say it rejects, comes down, profit, comes down, profit. We start to see it turn around. We ain't going to the third one. We're done. We're out. Very easy. When it breaks, guess what happens? We're going to set a new line. We're not going to set it from previous. We're going to go back to base. Base, 1, 2, go on through, right? In this case, guess what happens? Let me widen that out a little bit. In this case, it kind of drops pretty quickly, right? So we can take that and we can go down all the way until we see that thing break. So guess what? What do we do again? We just simply take the sell, take it down, and until that boy breaks a trend line, we're not in a buy. So guess what? Now we're even more safe because now we have a buffer zone from the previous line. Down, we don't got to wait for it to get all the way up here. If it breaks the first one, we're out. So we just caught this and out. What do? Right? Same thing over and over again. 1, 2, not here, here. Boom, we take it right to profit, and we can get out at any time. It's telling us where levels are going to try to come to. We get back to we get another break, we find the next high, we guess what we do? Back to base. 1, 2, go on through. We can take that, and in this case, it's a little sideways. But here's the great thing. Even though this is not a steep move from here to here, you say that thing just went sideways. Sure, but I caught 70 pips, right? Nice. It breaks. Guess what? Go back to base. A, right? Next, every time it sets a new high, boom, there it is. Take it. It breaks, we're out. And guess what? Eventually, what is it doing? We're creating our own fan until eventually it's coming up to that 4-hour line. This line came from the 4-hour. So we're setting all of these smaller zones, catching the little moves until the thing is exhausted. Once it's exhausted, we're out, right? You could take that again, right? You know, back to, from here, right? You go back from base, right? You could do it again if you want, all the way through. At that point, look at how steep, or look at how almost level that is, right? So at that point, yeah, you could take these little things, but you know you're starting to even out. Why am I taking downtrend trades with a market that's telling me just by the line itself that I'm probable to go sideways? Why? Because I'm exhausted. Down here, the market was going to trend down because it was pushing away from a reversal. But the closer that I get to my top line here, the closer I get to my 4-hour level. Let me change the color of that. Right? The closer I get to my 4-hour level, the more sideways I'm going to see the market go until I get a true rejection. Once I get that rejection, then I start to see more steep moves. And guess what I can do? I can start the process over again, right? And just continue to do that over and over and over again. New rejection. So you have base, all of this, lower, 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 new. Now, this was an uptrend, but is it? No, it's not an uptrend. It's a new lower high on a bigger downtrend. Right? So now, guess what I can do? I can do the same thing again. Come back here. Base. Right? 1, 2. Right here. Right? 1, 2. Go on through. Base. Right? 1, 2. Go on through. Base. 1, 2. Go on through. Until I'm exhausted. Notice how the closer I get to the top line, I start going sideways again. Why? Because I'm getting exhausted and I need another rejection. Now I get another rejection. Guess what? This looks like an uptrend, but really it's just a new lower high on the bigger downtrend. So new base. Base. 1, 2, go on through, right? Base. And I'm kind of being sloppy at this point just for the sake of speed. But look, 1, 2, go on through. All over and over and over and over again. All right, guys, there you have it. This is the fib strategy you've been waiting for. This is the stuff we're talking about. Look, this is the kind of game we give the TTA family too. Think about that. Some simple trend lines, a nice little fib fan, and the fib extension, and you see how you can catch it over and over and over again. And we're not just talking about some long-term stuff that you got to sit around and wait for while fans are dropping. We're talking about, you know, stuff that you could get in on the scalp, stuff that you could get in on the day trade, and stuff that you could swing. I showed you where we were getting hundreds of pips on the 1-hour chart, not the weekly, not the daily, the 1-hour chart. Guys, this is the video you've been waiting for. All right? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Become a student, trendtrading.academy. And remember, that announcement's coming soon, so stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video.